Good morning, and welcome to the What Inspired Me Today podcast, a podcast created to inspire you to be the very best that you can be. My name is Stephen Matthew, and this is what inspired me today. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. It is an honor and a privilege to be speaking with you today. In this week's podcast, I wanted to talk about how can we work through our times and periods of struggle. There are three things that are guaranteed in life. There's death, there's taxes, and the fact that we will all go through difficult periods and times in our lives. But because we know that this is going to be a guarantee, how can we then work through those struggles, especially when it comes out of left field? Oftentimes, when it is out of the blue, it takes the longest to work through, as well as come to terms with what is going on. The quote that I wanted to use today is from Vincent van Gogh, the famous artist, and he says this: "It was when I was in such deep misery that I felt my energies revive. And I said to myself, in spite of everything, I shall rise again. I will take up my pencil, which I've forsaken in my great discouragement, and I will go on with my drawing." There are a couple of really great lessons to be learned from this quote. The first thing is this. He mentions that when he was at his deepest misery was when he got the most energy. It's when he felt his energies revived. What does that mean? Oftentimes when we are in times of trouble, when we're in our fight or flight mode, we will have energy that our body will naturally make in order for us to be able to deal with the situation. For some of us, we are ready to fight. For some of us, we're ready to flee or flight. And some of us, we are ready to freeze. When we are faced with a difficult situation, our bodies are naturally going to react. But the first thing to do when we're going through a difficult period is to, number one, acknowledge what is happening. Now, acknowledging something does not make that situation worse. It is simply being aware of what's happening. If I am sad and I just shrug it off every time someone asks me, "Hey, how are you doing?" and I go, "I'm fine," but I'm burning up inside and I have no way to let it out, it is going to cause further problems down the line. When I acknowledge a problem, I am simply bringing it to the forefront, not to give it more power. In fact, it is taking some of the power away from the problem because we're not denying it. Denying a problem does not make it disappear. It simply pushes it under a rug, making it bigger until we have to deal with it later. However, when we acknowledge a problem when it happens, we can deal with it by then thinking about it and making solutions to that problem. The second thing that I wanted to mention is that when we have multiple problems going on, it is best to deal with it one at a time. Martin Luther King says this: "If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, just keep moving forward." As we deal with our problems and as we go through periods of struggle, don't try and handle the whole mountain. Simply take one step at a time, even if you have to crawl to the finish line. Take it one step at a time. All you have to do is to keep moving forward. As you keep moving forward, you will eventually get to the end of the tunnel. You will eventually get to the mountaintop. You will eventually get to the destination that you are seeking when we take it one step at a time. The third thing that I wanted to impress upon you is to ask yourself this question. Ask yourself, who are you becoming rather than focusing on what happened? Who am I becoming in this situation? I've been through multiple hospitalizations in my life, but the question that I've asked myself through difficult periods and seasons in my life is not so much what is happening in that present moment in time, but who am I becoming as I am working through these difficult periods? When I was going through difficult periods, I had to ask myself, what is the lesson in this problem? What am I needing to learn? Now, does everything have a lesson? I would say so, But sometimes we're not thinking about that. We're not thinking about all of that, especially when times are difficult. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time after the fact to reflect back on it. But ask yourself, how have you developed through a problem? It is a question that is asked oftentimes in job interviews. In job interviews, they will ask you, hey, what is a problem and how did you work your way through that problem? As you develop your own thinking and as you develop your own problem solving skills, you will realize that you have ways to tackle problems. And as you tackle those problems, you will develop a set of skills and a mindset that will get you through it. How did you get through previous problems, and how can you use those lessons to get through the current one as well? When you are struggling, what works for you? That comes to my fourth point here. Create your own strategies for dealing with crises. As you develop the things that work best for you, what gives you energy? What gives you relaxation? What calms you? What are the things that you can use to go through different crises? Remember back through previous crises. Was it a prayer life? Was it going to church? Was it meditating? What will help you to best handle a situation? Perhaps it is reaching out to someone. Perhaps it is asking for advice. Perhaps it is simply taking some alone time to reflect and then develop a strategy. So what works best for you? With that said, ask for help when you need it. And sometimes even when you don't. Find someone that you admire. Look for people that you can find mentorship in. Find friends or family or even a doctor if you need pharmaceutical help to help you with your strategies, to help you solve problems. It is okay and it is fine for you to get help. It is better to ask for help and not need it than to need help and not have it because you didn't ask. And so ask for help when you need it. Find someone you trust. Find someone that has reached the goals that you want to reach. Find someone that might have actually gone through similar struggles and problems. How did they get through it? They might have some strategies that you might want to try out yourself. And finally, here is my last point. Celebrate every single win that you get. It doesn't have to be major wins. It can be a little win. It can be as simple as you tidied up the house today. It can be as simple as you brushed your teeth. It can be as simple as you made the bed. These are seemingly insignificant things, but as you develop small habits every single day, they will magnify and become bigger habits that then develop into other ones. And so celebrate every single win. As you celebrate those wins, you will actually develop a reward system for yourself that will take you to bigger and bigger victories. As you succeed more, you will want to earn more. You will want to reward yourself more. That is not a bad thing. That's a great way to incentivize your upward growth, especially when we're going through struggle. As we struggle with things, it is hard. It is difficult. Make it a little bit easier on yourself by rewarding yourself when things go right. And as you reward yourself and you get better and you come through the other side, you will be able to reflect back on your struggles, and your greatest reward will be that you have succeeded. So like Vincent van Gogh, despite the discouragements and the problems that he faced, he carried on drawing. He carried on making art. And yes, he had a tragic end. However, he made art that changed the world. People are still talking about his specific style. In the same way, you have something to contribute to this world. Your struggles are not your destiny. Your struggles are temporary. And I want you to know that there is another side, that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a mountaintop that you can reach. And so do not give up. Do not worry. Take it one step at a time. Acknowledge the difficulties and work out solutions that work best for you for your future. With that said, have a great week.